this is your host Pavan Chawla welcoming you to the Master's Voice on Mediabrief.com, our podcast series which is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts and many other top global podcast directories. I don't know how many podcasts I said there. We bring you stories, views and actionable nuggets and more from masters of their crafts across media, marketing, advertising, communication and entertainment. And today, our audiences across all these directories are in for a treat as I have with me a young lady whose first name probably means, let's see, well-spoken? Our audiences are in for a treat as I have with me Sumukhi Suresh. In fact, so well-spoken is she has the world laughing when she delivers her well-thought-out comic lines with great practiced but natural ease and elan. Sumukhi, welcome to the Master's Voice on Mediabrief.com.
What a lovely voice you have, Pavan. I must say. What a lovely voice. I stopped. I was like, oh my god, I want to hear the whole thing. Now, tell me more, a little more. You know, all of my introduction videos, can you please do it? Thank you. Okay, I really felt like I could make people laugh. You convinced me of my own skill. Thank you so much for having me, Pavan.
Thank you very much for being here. It's really a pleasure. So for a behti naak wali young girl whose folks never knew she had such prodigious comic talent till, about 3 years ago, Sumukhi has been a great talent. She's on the show today also because on the 20th of December, her first stand-up special, Don't Tell Amma, it's available on Amazon Prime in India and across the world. It's an Amazon Prime exclusive, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is an Amazon Prime Video exclusive. It's in fact a comedy special on their portal and I'm very excited because Amazon Prime is home for me. So it makes complete sense that my first special goes there.
Wonderful. All the way from the days of Comicstan?
No, all the way from Pushpavali, which came first.
Oh yes, the series that you created actually.
Yes I did. So Pushpavali, then Comicstan, then Go Straight Take Left and now my special. Yeah.
Wonderful. So how does that feel, Don't Tell Amma on Amazon Prime, 20th December, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm extremely nervous because it is the first time I'm doing stand-up and stand-up is a skill, you know, as much as the audience enjoys it. Also a part of us is like within the comedians, it's very like, oh, it's your 1 hour, huh? How's that going to be? It's going to be filled with jokes. What are you going to do? So there is a lot of anticipation for me there.
And those were my questions.
Those were your questions? Oh, what? Well, my 1 hour, honestly, it was a very interesting journey for me because like everything I do, I have to just pick something and put my head to it. Be like, okay, that's it. I need to do it. I need to figure this out. And I was supposed to do this last year. And then things started happening. I had a lot of things to do. And then got pushed to this year. So I took 4 months, a good 4 or 5 months, toured with my show as many cities as possible. And I taped the special because I was like, until I give myself a deadline, I'm not going to do it.
It is Don't Tell Amma. Let me remind everybody. It's on from the 20th of December on Amazon Prime in India and across the world. So Sumukhi, tell me, 1 hour of on-air time, actual time, including the packaging and the breaks and everything else, probably, let's say maybe about, 56, 57 minutes of actual performance. That is amazing because it is concentrated. The most difficult genre to sustain is comedy. So how much time did you take in the planning and then the writing, then the rewriting and the mastering of the script of this entire 1 hour stand-up?
So how I approach my stand-up, and I realized it as I was doing my special, is that I'm someone who performs first and then writes later. So
is that like a focus group test first?
So every stand-up comic, what they do is they do an open mic where they workshop their jokes. They do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, whatever it is. And then they move on to something called a trial show, which is an hour of stand-up or more. And I was doing a lot of open mics where I did smaller bits. And then I did my first trial show where I did an entire hour. So for me, I realized that, okay, I'm someone who goes on stage, performs, and then comes back and writes. It's also because I started comedy with improv. So improv is my basis for everything. Yeah. So I started with performing, then wrote, then rewrote. So officially, I toured it with about 4 to 5 months. But writing-wise, I think it's been going on at least for a year and a half.
What is this show actually going to have? How will it sort of progress on the format of the hour?
For me, what I like about Don't Tell Amma is I think it's the truest voice of mine. I mean, I know I play characters. I love playing characters. Behtina or Pushpavalli. And Comicstan, I know I hosted, but you're still a host and judge. You're still playing a certain genre. But Don't Tell Amma, I am myself on stage. So I'm being cute, but I'm also being rash. I'm being harsh. I'm also sarcastic. Then I suddenly go being cute. So everyone's like, what's happening with this girl? What's happening? Why is she going through so many emotions? Which is who I am. So I like how it is, I think it's a good answer to what does Sumukhi actually sound like. 1, 2, it is, I love telling stories. That's how I start any conversation. But I also have observations, so I sort of like masked them in a nice story. So I speak to you about where I grew up, how when I grew up, our family was not very well to do, but we also had a rich people resume. So my mom is a chartered accountant, my dad's an MA literature.
A rich people resume.
It's such a rich people resume. Which man does MA literature and is poor? There it is. That silence is my answer.
And now tell us about Pushpavalli, the web series you created, season 2 of which is actually going to be coming on Amazon Prime in the first quarter of next year.
Listen, by the way, I'm very excited. You're telling me it's first hour of next year. I wasn't told. I'm very excited. Thank you so much, Pavan, for great news.
Sources.
Yeah, sources. I hope your sources are correct because I'm very excited. Because I made the show, I've given it to them. I'm like, oh my god, just release it already. Pushpavalli, you know what it is? A lot of people keep telling you this in any field that you're in, be it comedy or be it any other field that you're in, is that you are never made if you aren't self-made. And Pushpavalli taught me that if until you make something for yourself, because before that I was just cribbing that nobody's giving me a lead role. Oh, I'm a big girl, nobody wants a big girl as a lead role. Me. I just kept complaining, and then I realized 1 minute, if I have the skill, if I want to do it, if I have the resources like Amazon, like OML, why am I not writing this on my own? And first season is written by Sumaira, Naveen, Richard, me. We're about 4 writers. We got together and we wrote the show. And I got a chance to act in my own show. And I got a chance to not be a black and white character, because women are put in boxes like, oh, she's the mom, she's the wife, she takes care of you, she's the sister who needs your protection. Pushpavalli is she's a fundamentally wrong character. She's an anti-hero. And I could play that and make you empathize for me. That's the best gift I can give to myself.
Wonderful. So, what has OML or Only Much Louder's role been like in your growth?
OML manages my work. They are essentially the people who put me together with, it's all, imagine that I had a lot of skills and here they're like, okay, these are your skills. Let us put it in a box where you can start giving it to other people. A lot of beautiful things and brilliant things have happened to me because of the people who manage me. Pushpavalli happened purely because of Ajay Nair, who is the owner of, chairman of Pushpavalli, I'm saying OML. Yes. And honestly, if he wouldn't have put his money on my show, the show wouldn't have been made. Because there was a point where the show was in a very bad state, the scripts were in very bad stage. I don't think anyone should have made that show, especially the script that it was in. He gave me that 1 month extension saying that go, rewrite it, make the show you wanted. He was the one who told me, I want to see you on screen 70%. Why is it that I'm seeing everybody else? And these kind of words, they make and break. So here I was, the people who are managing me are coming here telling me, saying that why are we seeing other people when you're the hero of your own show? So it's they're the people who are they're the vehicle which is taking all my I want to do 1,000 things, and OML is making sure that I'm trying to do it as well as possible.
Wonderful. Okay, so rewind to when you first started thinking about comedy, stand-up comedy, the deadpan Behtina that made you famous. When did you realize you had it in you?
I'm sorry, I still haven't realized I had it in me. I'm sorry, Pavan. I don't have a right answer, but I know that a lot of good things have happened to me accidentally.
No, okay. I'm going to interrupt there.
Yeah.
You knew you had it in you when you decided that you would kick that corporate job, say goodbye to it, and say, I'm going to do my own thing. So was it an empty-headed decision?
No, it is one of those things that I've...
So you had it in you?
I don't know, because, it's one of... yeah, you're right. It's a double-edged. I can see what you're saying. Maybe maybe I just don't want to accept it because then it becomes a truth and I'm like, oh my god, what do I do now? But I have something that my mom does, is that if she starts doing something, she has to finish it. Similarly, I started doing comedy and now I'm like, damn it, now I have to finish it. Now I have to do it right, otherwise it's just going to upset me. By the way, side note, I was very upset when I quit my job. I actually cried at my farewell speech. I was like, oh my god.
Where were you?
I was working for an organization called Two for Rhineland, which is a certification company, and I used to take care of their food and water safety laboratory.
Wow. So what is your educational qualification?
Pavan's image of me has changed, guys. If this wasn't a podcast, his face is like, what? What is she going on? I did my food science, nutrition and dietetics from Madras University. Yeah.
Yeah. And where did you do comedy from?
Oh, comedy from Nagpur, hometown, parents, rich people resume.
So your family only came to know about 3 odd years ago that this is what you wanted to do.
Yes.
Tell us about it. How did they react? How did they come to know?
I personally think my mom knew. Okay, I don't think I don't think any mother is dumb because they gave birth to us. I think they figured it out. But my mom it was like a battle of wits. My mom wanted me to come tell her, and I was like, I don't want to tell her so I told her, no, I had a job. I know I was in Bombay, I had a job and I was doing comedy. I was just helping my friend out. So I used to just pin the whole thing on my friend Naveen Richard, who I've done a lot of work with. I'm like, no, it's Naveen's show. In fact, Pushpavali, I told her it's Naveen's show. I was like, it's not my show actually. I'm just helping him out. Because I don't think, I think my parents I'm not sure my mother would be able to grasp to it. My father, yes. And when they found out, honestly, it was one of those very intense conversations, which is still ongoing, by the way. Now my mother's behaving like she never talks about it.
She chooses to ignore it.
She chooses to ignore it.
Stony silence.
Yep, that's one of those. In fact, when Pushpavali came out and my elder brother forced my mom to, because my elder brother is someone who I first told about whatever I'm doing. He forced my mom to watch Pushpavali, and my mother called up Naveen and said, great show. and Naveen's like, Macha, your mom's calling and telling me that it's a great show. It's like, well, that's great. And even now, so when season 2, Pushpavali season 2 is being put together, and my mom was like, 1 or 2 episodes we were editing, and I was showing a few clips to my brother. I'm sorry Amazon. Because I was showing a few clips to my brother. My mom was like, oh, show me also. I'm like, go ask Naveen.
Good Lord.
That's right. So it's a cat and mouse fight between my mom. So now that Don't Tell Amma is coming.
You mean cat and cat?
Cat. I feel like I'll take myself as a mouse. But my mom is now that my special is called Don't Tell Amma, she's like, can I watch it? I'm like, I don't know, go ask Naveen, no. So it's very that.
Good God.
You can see my relationship with my mom is very interesting.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, Sumukhi, your first video was Anu Auntie, the engineering anthem with Varun Agarwal. Tell me about it. How did that come about?
I was in a family trip to a temple where obviously, you know how family trips are, all the family members just yell at each other. So that's what was happening. And I got a message from my comedian friend Sanjay Manaktala saying that, hey, there's Varun Agarwal, he has this book. Do you want to act in it in the video? I said, okay, fine. By then I was doing a little bit of improv. I was doing a little bit of sketches. I was like, okay, fine, it's a YouTube. YouTube was very new to me. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll have fun. And I was supposed to wear a sari because the good thing about, I don't know, I mean it in a sarcastic way, but big girls, you put the sari and they all look old. So they just wanted a big girl who could wear a sari and pull off old, and also the fact that I was funny. So, but I don't think they figured the funny out. When I came on set and I started doing my antics, they're like, oh, that's funny. Can you do more of that? So it's very one of those. So yeah, Anu Auntie also really put me it was like a first step to the map. Yeah.
And then you launched the video series Behti Naak, which you spoke about on your own YouTube channel. In it, you played Behti Naak, a 10-year-old girl with a deadpan style of humor, and the videos went viral. What inspired you to do that, and what were the benefits for you?
Behti Naak was something I improvised on the sets of Better Life Foundation, another web series that I did, created by Naveen. And I was just randomly just jamming those lines. I was playing the character. I love playing characters here and there. I love mimicking people. So I was doing that, and one of the comics, Kannan, looked at it and he said, I think you should do a sketch. This is a very interesting series that, you could develop. I was like, okay. And then I started writing sketches. I started writing Behti. And I was just waiting for someone to be like, can someone make it? And I remember one day where I saw all the boys are just making their own YouTube videos. And I was like, okay, fine, might as well make it. So Behti for me, more than my first video, it was the first time I promised myself that I can make something for myself. So that changed, the attitude change of don't wait for people to come make things for you. You got to make it on your own. That's what Behti did. And Behti, inspiration is, she's just a response video for me to my younger self. Because as a younger self, I was such a dumbass, Pavan. You cannot imagine what a dumb child I was. So for me, Behti was the girl I wanted to be. But now I get to be her.
So you were a dumb child?
I was a very dumb child.
And you've changed now?
No.
I guess if you have to make people laugh, you should first learn to laugh at yourself. And you do that with full-throated ease.
Full-throaty. I have a very witch laugh, especially when it comes to self-jokes.
Quick reminder, this vivacious, super smooth voice belongs to one of our favorite stand-up comedians and actors, the young Sumukhi Suresh, whose superb standalone 1-hour special Don't Tell Amma from Only Much Louder or OML has been released by Amazon Prime Video.
Do not miss it.
Yeah, I think you can't afford to miss it because I've put all my money on it, so I can't afford anything right now. Please watch it.
No, they will watch it, they'll laugh, and I think you will enjoy the returns.
I hope so. I really do hope, yeah.
So, Sumukhi, you rose to fame after portraying the character of Sumukhi Chawla, an NGO employee in India's first mockumentary-style YouTube series, Better Life Foundation. So, tell me about it, how it came about, the concept, the cute Tamil-Hindi mongrelization of two beautiful languages that made for very funny listening. How did the concept and setting come about?
Better Life Foundation belongs to one of the comics, Naveen Richard. He created the show and he wrote the show. One of the best writers you will find in India, by the way, Naveen. And Naveen, like me, is again a comic who loves acting, who loves characters. So Naveen, I remember when he was writing the character itself, he's like, Sumukhi, I want you to play this. And usually people put me in a very bubbly box. They're very like, oh, she's bubbly, she's sweet, she seems like a fun girl. And it was an angry character. And no one really expected, the small group that knew me didn't expect me to play that. And that's why, and also Naveen, if you notice Sumukhi Chawla from Better Life Foundation, she actually has no funny lines. She has the least number of funny lines. She's the straight character, as they call it. And playing the straight character is very good for me because very unconsciously I got all the laughs. Like, people like me because I was the only person they could be like, it's not heightened, it's a person we can relate to. And that really helped me out in terms of my acting chops. And also Better Life Foundation is where I met Debbie Rao. And Debbie is the director of Pushpavalli. So a lot of good things happened to me because of Better Life Foundation.
Mockumentary style, doesn't comedy, especially stand-up comedy, actually, pardon the pun, mock fun of things anyways?
It does, but thankfully that's stand-up comedy and this is web series. So within web series, you know how The Office was, Parks and Recreation was, so they followed the same format, and it was it's very similar format. And I think the only people who got it right was writers of Better Life Foundation, that is Naveen Richard.
Sumukhi, of course, the original platform for all genres, including comedy, always was YouTube, and it still is a huge entity. But what is your view about the OTT platforms like Amazon Prime Video, Netflix, Hotstar, Roots, Sony Live and the others? How have they helped stand-up comedy and also the genre of comedy overall through web series?
You know, what Amazon did is they made... We know that stand-up specials are unique. We know that web series are unique because we're the people who create it. And you know how when you create something, it's bigger than it is in your head. Amazon put it in the map for Indians. An Amazon special or an Amazon web show was something that people look forward to. It became a branding. So as a comic, if you have an Amazon special or an Amazon web show, you immediately have a value in the entertainment industry. And Amazon really did that for us. For me, I don't see any other platform that would have, featured a Pushpavalli like Amazon did. Like, I'm so glad because here I was an anti-hero. The show is about a girl who moves cities to stalk a boy. It's all of, yeah, exactly, Pavan, that's the pace. And they were like, okay, let's take this risk, let's go for it. And I'm so glad because Pushpavalli gave me my own people. You have no idea the number of old women who come for my show only because they've watched Pushpavalli. And I'm like, what are you up to in your younger days, auntie? That you're connecting to Pushpavalli, you tell me. And I don't think this would have happened as much as I'm a big fan of YouTube. YouTube predominantly is still a young adult space. But when it comes to an Amazon Prime, it's like cable TV. So you want to subscribe to it to watch different shows. So people like my mothers or people like youngsters as well can watch something like a Pushpavalli on Amazon.
Another huge differentiator in my opinion is that YouTube is a place which is open to everybody to come and just sling whatever hash you want to.
Yes.
Good, bad, ugly.
Yes.
Right? But here it is experts sitting, curating, looking at content, discussing, creating, and then there's a process through which it passes. So it's always definitely much better quality. I may be making a generalization that many people might not like, but I think that when you have an expert team of people who are aware, informed, and experienced in content creation, in curating, in giving great talent the freedom to do what they want nicely and then putting it all together and then promoting and packaging it. Yeah. I think it's a huge game changer.
You said something very interesting. You know what Amazon did for YouTube. I'll tell you the reverse way is that when we put out a show on Amazon or when we put out a stand-up special on Amazon, we present ourselves very well. Like there is a value for the amount that you're paying as a subscriber. And the same rules now we follow with YouTube. If we're putting out on YouTube, where actually we present ourselves in the best possible way, the content is well vetted. So the organization that Amazon brings has actually come on to YouTube as well.
And you use YouTube brilliantly to also promote the whole thing.
I enjoy YouTube because I can do whatever I want.
Sumukhi, there have been some famous lady stand-up comedians who've broken the myth that comedy is a man's preserve. What do you have to say about that? Who are your favorite comedians or stand-up comics, in India and internationally?
My favorite stand-up comedians remain to be Bill Burr. I'm a big fan of Bill Burr. I'm a big fan of Kanan Gill. I'm a big fan of Sarah Silverman. My whole stand-up journey actually sort of started with this comic. Well, I'm sure you know of Ellen, and Ellen's older stand-up clips were something very interesting for me. There are a lot of comics who are women who are coming forward now, and I'm not a big fan of the term female comic or a lady comic, is because that puts me in the box of within that gender I'm the best. But no, I need to be best at my skill. So as a comedian, I need to be best. But having said that, I understand why it's needed, because
you represent the gender that's breaking out and doing great work.
So I know my selfish thought is, no, don't think of me as this gender's comic and therefore I'll be the best in this gender. But I'm looking at the bigger picture, which I'm part of, is that this term is needed so that more women can come forward. And if that's why the tag needs to be there, I'm fine with it. But selfishly, I'm not.
Okay. And Sumukhi, let's talk numbers now. You performed more than 100 shows across India in cities like Amsterdam, internationally, Oslo, Copenhagen. Were those purely for the Indian diaspora audiences? What's the experience been like?
Interestingly, every time I've done a show abroad, I've never done it for Indians. I don't know how. And I'm the most non-English speaking. I mean, I am English speaking, but I also have Tamil in it. I have Hindi in it. So I have a lot going on in my stand-up and my general language. And I remember performing in Amsterdam, Copenhagen and Oslo. Oslo being one of my best performances, because Oslo, I in fact did my Don't Tell Amma, one of the bits I was roughly working then. And there are Tamil lines in it, and the people in Oslo actually enjoyed that bit of mothers calling you at a particular time, because they were like, no, we don't mind the language, but the thought was right. And that was very interesting. And recently, when I went to LA, and I had a bunch of meetings there, and I did a spot at in LA, and it was, when you do an open mic spot, you can't really promote it, so Indians were not in the audience. It was a fully American audience. I was freaking out. Everybody was doing terribly. I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to bomb and I'm going to just die in my own cocoon. And I fairly did well, because what I've realized is, and which I think we need to constantly reinvent, is that as long as you have a very simple thought and an honest voice, the audience is okay with it, and just be nice to them. I mean, now it's reached a stage where audiences come to watch. Don't be mean to them. I mean, be nice to them and then be mean to them. So let's see. First time it went well. Now second time I go again in February. God knows, Pavan, maybe I'll bomb.
You won't. You can't do that. So what is the difference in the kind of comedy that works, say, in India versus internationally?
I honestly think, universally, if you treat your audiences well, and if the thought is simple and it's honest, it truly works in a lot of audiences. Having said that, what happens more than, nationality, age groups is where I think we go here and there. Because an older audience would prefer the presentation to be something else, and a younger audience wouldn't mind you going all out. Like if I have an older audience in my stand-up specials, which is very regular, I keep it very courteous, very respectful in the beginning, and I address them first, and I establish my personality that here I am, I know I'm younger than you, but I will make you laugh. So be ready for that. And it's very simple, right? All our parents, everyone would just like us to give us a little bit of introduction of what's happening. I literally do that. Once you do that, that's the extra.
They're in.
Exactly. But that, I think more than nationality, it's the age group. So you need to know your audiences when it comes to age group and accordingly perform. Okay,
I know this expression doesn't sit well with you, lady stand-up comics, but virtually without exception, whichever lady comics or stand-up comedians I've watched, international ones, within the first or the second minute, they are below the belt with their jokes.
Yes.
Why does that happen?
Because for the longest time, we were not allowed to talk about it. We still aren't. women's sexuality is something which is a taboo throughout. If I want to speak about my sexual prowess or just something as simple as present my thought about something remotely close to, anatomically or remotely close to sexuality, we have not been allowed to speak. And the thing about stand-up is that the first thing you talk about is something that you've been told not to talk about. That's one. Two, I'm not joking. I remember watching this open mic in LA, and God, my heart went out to that woman. She came out and she did simple 5 for the first 30 seconds. She did simple jokes. I kid you not. And then she had to go below the belt because she was not getting her laugh. She
got the laugh.
She got the laugh. She immediately got the laugh. Then she went back to a simple joke. So why not? I will do anything to get my first laugh and then move forward. And I think what you should ask should not be that, Sumukhi, why is it below the belt? What you should ask is it a smart bit? Am I giving you a below the belt joke, which is an interesting joke?
It has to be funny.
Exactly.
Otherwise it's just
if
for
it's
effect.
not interesting, then you should be like, hey, your below the belt joke was not funny. Don't go, why are you doing below the belt? Within the below the belt also there are interesting thoughts, and that is something we need to figure. We need to give you interesting thoughts.
So, Sumukhi, in India, which cities have you performed in? Only major or top 6 metros, or mini metros and towns too?
Oh, many metros in town too. I just came back from a show. I did a show in Madurai.
Okay.
I know. I had a great time. What a great audience. In fact, the smaller cities are way more fun because they don't have a lot of live shows coming, and that's why they get excited about it. So Madurai was great. I've performed in Mysore. I performed in Kottayam, Kozhikode, and I actually find smaller cities way more fun.
Okay. And what are the kinds of or genres of comedy that work better in, or how is it different? The big towns or big metros versus the small towns.
The big towns is that they have the whole concept of like Mumbai or Delhi or Bangalore. They know stand-up. So they're aware of the hygiene of a stand-up show. Like you come in, jokes, leave. But smaller cities have seen it online. So they don't know the interactivity level, or they don't know what are the rules and the hygiene of a stand-up show. So the only thing you need to do in smaller towns is introduce it to them. Be like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. You guys got to be part of it. Let's enjoy. A, introduction. B is that honestly, I did all my jokes, the same jokes I did everywhere, and they worked well. It's just the only additional thing I do in smaller cities is I actually love talking to the audience in all my shows.
So you had a great time in the small towns.
I did. It was good. It's just I feel like they in fact responded better to my jokes as compared to bigger metros.
Okay. So you have thousands of followers across your social media platforms. Let's see, at last count, perhaps a couple of weeks back, you had 95.8k followers.
It's changed. I'm on 104.
Wow.
Thank you so
on
much.
Instagram. And what about Twitter?
200k followers.
Wow. And the Facebook page?
It's 97k.
Superb. And subscribers on YouTube?
It's 52 actually, not 49. But that's so bad. I've only increased by 3k. That's not good.
So here's the dual advice question. Part 1, advice to content creating youngsters on how to grow your follower count. Yes, good quality sticky content, but what more?
Oh, I'm actually the last person you should ask about increasing your number of followers, because long time back I chose my game. There are 2 games. There is the numbers game and then there is the content game. Content game is something that gives you rewards much later. So in fact, people who are doing comedy as much as me, they have more number of followers as compared to me, and I think that's because they're incessantly putting content out on a daily basis. And here I try to do shows, I try to do web shows which take more time and then end up releasing much later.
So essentially it's the quality of the content.
No, I don't think, because I think people who do it daily also have quality. It's
understood.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, I choose your game. Do you want to do the numbers game? Do it right. Do you want to do the content game? Do it right.
Okay, got that. Now, and TikTok has spawned overnight comedy enthusiasts putting together funny and supposedly funny videos, some with that irritating laugh in the end. But on a serious note, what would you advise a young comedy enthusiast who wants to make a career in stand-up comedy to do?
It's the simplest advice that I was given is to go to an open mic. You have to go to an open mic. You have to try and see and perform in front of. You can be funny with your friends. You can be funny with your family. Go on stage and try 5 minutes where you're funny with nobody in general. It's general crowd. And if you even get one laugh, or if you feel like there is a funny thought, then you're headed somewhere. So definitely start with an open mic.
All right. And Sumukhi, reflect back on your young life and its achievements so far. What's it been like? Whom are you indebted to? Who helped you? What challenged you? And how did you become the Sumukhi Suresh you are today? Answer in less than a minute.
I am the Sumukhi Suresh right now because my mother made sure that I was raised as competitive, as hardworking, and someone who is constantly self-doubting. So honestly, self-doubt has worked very well for me. but it has to be in good doses. You also have to have the right kind of confidence to make sure that it goes up. And thanks to the fact that I have great agents, thanks to the fact that I have Amazon that has put up not 1 or 2 but 4 shows of mine.
Wow.
So yeah, here's to 14 more with Amazon.
And in the end, Sumukhi, any message for the readers of Mediabrief.com and your followers and people who are fans of yours?
Thank you so much for being my fan. I'm actually very surprised you are. But you know what? Good luck with that. Please watch Don't Tell Amma on Amazon Prime on 20th December. You can tell your moms, just don't tell mine. Thank you.
And a message for your mom.
Mom, don't watch this. If I go to give my mom a heartfelt message saying, Mom, I love you, she'll be like, what happened? Who died? You call me and tell me who died. So she understands sarcasm. So, Mama, please don't watch this. Just relax and...
So that's the end of the Mediabrief.com podcast, The Master's Voice. This time the master, the young master, has been Sumukhi Suresh. Beautiful sense of humor, wonderful dimple, great smile.
Thank you.
And such a heartwarming person. Thank you for being on the show, Sumukhi.
And thank you, Pavan, for having me on Mediabrief.com. Your voice is caramel, just letting you know.
So that was a favorite stand-up comedian and actor Sumukhi Suresh speaking about her art, craft and professional growth on The Master's Voice, the podcast series from Mediabrief.com, listed on all the top global podcast directories like Spotify, Google, Apple and more. I'm your host and friend Pavan Chawla signing off. Thanks for listening in. Till the next time, bye-bye.